Hello and welcome to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Jack Pantazis, who is a professional musician and his main passion is jazz. And also he's a teacher as well at a college in Melbourne. Welcome to the program, Jack.
Thank you for having me, Mirella. Thank you.
Pleasure. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, a bit of your background, what inspired you to start playing music and how you were drawn to it?
Yeah, sure. I think it's the simple reply is, I guess we were in a household with music from a very young age, having a father who was a professional musician, a pianist. So we always had music around the home, a variety of different music, from classical, Latin, jazz, all sorts of stuff, semi-classical. So we always had music at home. So the passion was, I guess, a result of being fed this sound from a young age. So that's basically where it comes from, I think.
We're so influenced by our family and our relatives and everyone around us.
Absolutely. I think we're influenced in so many different ways, and I was just fortunate and blessed to have that as my background. In when you're growing up, not necessarily thinking that it would become a big part of my life, but it was certainly a big factor.
And then how did you go from there to playing as a professional?
That's a big one, Well, I think having a father as a musician, we were encouraged to learn our instruments, whatever they were, like a guitar for me, and having lessons. And so having lessons and being surrounded by musicians of a very high quality, professional musicians, we knew the amount of work we had to do as youngsters to play well, and lessons were a way of getting the information to us. Thankfully for me, I had a very good teacher, so I had a very influential teacher, and unlike a lot of other stories and other students that I've come across who go through multiple teachers to find the right person, I was again lucky to have the one person that I went to that was the person who I clicked with, I had a good rapport with, who was able to show me right from the fundamentals of theory and the instrument for 6-7 years to do this with one person. And to do that, to find that today is very rare. I mean, because I'm a teacher, I see a lot of students who come to me who do not have that first initial impact and prolonging with one teacher. They tend to go from one teacher to another for whatever reasons. But I was just lucky to have that one teacher who had the right information, had the right manner, and I got given and fed the right things at the right time. So again, having that environment of professional musicians around us, as myself and my brother, who we're both professional musicians, we were able to practice and work hard and develop. So it wasn't something initially that we wanted to do, I think, but through time it just became more and more, yes, this is what I want to do.
And now as you play and work professionally, what's the secret to getting all the work as to someone who doesn't get as much work these days?
It's you need the passion, that's definitely, but you've got to back it up with discipline. If you don't have discipline and organisational skills, I don't think you learn them straight away, but you definitely learn that to get something done between 1 week's lesson to the other, it teaches you that 1 week you can get something done. If it's a small task, then you get it done. If it's a bigger task, it's a long-term goal. It takes you a bit longer. But I suppose everything, we learn to do things in that sort of way, and I learned to practice and develop the practice routine, so to speak, so that from half an hour practice, an hour practice a day, going to 2 to 3 hours a day, was not a chore. It wasn't. No one grabbed me from the scruff of the neck to say, "Hey, can you go in your room and practice?" It was like you knew if you wanted to get that lesson down by the end of the week and go to the teacher and perform it for the teacher, you had to do this. And look, I'm not naturally gifted. I have to work. I have to work hard. Like I still have to work hard at things. Certain skills have been developed. Yes, I'm quicker at things. Yes, but I know as my own sense, it takes time for me to develop things.
Well, that's beautiful to share that humility with people, because there are people out there that can be a bit negative and they think, oh, it's only because they know someone in the field, or it's only because of who you know, or I'm just
And because I got a musician as a father doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have the genes.
Yeah.
It might, but look, you can have the passion, but you can still be tone deaf, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just that the passion and wanting to do it, it's a good combination. But
And doing it.
And doing it. And just doing the discipline of
Practice.
practicing.
Practice
Exactly.
makes perfect, yeah. And keep practicing and just keep going to the gigs and keep getting more experience.
Well, that's the gigs later on. I guess working and playing and earning a living, so to speak, is the end result of this practice.
And on to your main passion, which is jazz. Tell us a little bit about that, what you do with jazz.
Big area.
Yeah.
Well, big area.
Beautiful music, relaxing, happy.
And and intense and exciting and stressful sometimes. It's jazz is a form of music that appeals to me because of its creativeness. And that you can do many things with the one thing. Yeah. So, you know, you'll hear a lot of jazz musicians talk about jazz standards, and jazz standards are a collection of tunes that you and I know might come from a musical, like The Sound of Music, you know. Everyone knows, what's the tune?
The fields are...
You know, everyone knows that. It's a jazz standard.
Yeah.
But everyone who plays that in a jazz sense has a different interpretation, different take on that. And how I feel about playing that tune today I might feel differently tomorrow. And so jazz is a now type of thing where you can create things and make something sound differently from yesterday.
And is that what you like about it the most?
Yeah. It's a challenge because, you know, I'd like to do, like we all do in this jazz thing, is trying to interpret something or express oneself differently on the same thing. Sure, you can become quite bored with the theme, and that's why we write original music, but yeah. All
right, beautiful. Well, we're going to a break now, but when we get back, we'll be listening to some of your own music.
Okay.
Well, we're going to a break now, and stay tuned because we'll be listening to Jack play some jazz. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. We're here with Jack Pantazis, who is a professional musician, and now he's going to play us a beautiful piece of jazz, followed by some other music later. Welcome back, Jack.
Thank you, Mirella. It's nice to be back here again.
So, would you like to tell us a bit about the music you're going to play now?
Sure. A lot of jazz musicians, including myself, we come from playing what we call jazz standards. And jazz standards is like the building blocks of themes and melodies that we work with, and they come from a variety of places. They can come from musicals and shows and just good writers. And this particular piece, I think, comes from an old movie, 1930s movie starring John Garfield. He was a gangster type of guy, and he played, I think, the role of a violinist, would you believe? But it's a ballad, and it's called Body and Soul, and it's just a lovely old tune. And in the spirit of jazz, I'm playing it the way I would like to play it today. It's not something that I sat down arranging it, so to speak.
Okay, so, well, let's hear it.
Hear it? Yeah, okay. Sure.
Marvellous.
There you go.
That was beautiful.
That's
It's
okay.
almost like a meditation. You just feel so, you can just go anywhere with it.
Thank you.
It's just beautiful.
So that is, just what I like about jazz. It's just like I'm free. If I know the topic, I know the theme, I know where it's going, and it's just using things that I've learned to express and paint. I think is the analogy with painting. Is what I can do, and what this can do on the day too.
So it's kind of like you have a vision in your mind or a feeling in your mind, and you just try and put it through the music. Is that how you feel? Or?
Yeah, I think we're all of us are capable of doing things that we have learnt to do. We've got that type of mechanics, and like you do your thing, you practice what you do, and when you go into your life, you do that.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with, I practice certain things with harmony or melody or improvisation that I work on, so it becomes part of my vocabulary, like a new word, and then hopefully in the day-to-day actions and day-to-day dealings it comes out. And that, with music, I guess with any type of act, it just takes a long time to do. I mean, this is an old tune and something that I've been playing for a long time, but if it was 10, 15 years ago, it wouldn't be where it is today. And there's still a lot of things for me to work on and study and practice. So, but that's the journey. That's the journey. Beautiful.
And we've only got a couple of minutes left, but this is really beautiful. My dad, if he was alive, he would be just loving this show. Would you like to play something else?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one of the other common standards of jazz is blues.
Yeah.
So I'll play a bit of blues for you, and we'll
okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, sure.
Beautiful. That's great. That's lovely. You can almost feel someone, picture someone dancing on their toes to that. Anyway, we have to go to a break, but we'll be back with more.
Sure.
You're watching Nat Chat. We'll be back very soon. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich and our guest is Jack Pantazis, and he's a professional musician and he also plays music of all genres, but his main passion is jazz, and he also teaches music, he started his own band, many more. So welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mirella.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you've performed with your music?
Sure. I guess when we say my music, most of the time it's not my music.
Yeah, with the bands.
But I've been fortunate to play in musical pit orchestras, filling in for some friends of mine, pit orchestras, doing Wicked, Lion King, Mamma Mia, sort of shows you see at the Regent, the Palace, the Majesties, and working under conductors and so forth. So, and those musicals, as most people would be aware,
yes,
it encompasses all styles of music. You know, I've had to play ukulele to a banjo to normal guitars to class, all sorts of things. So
wow,
all sorts of music, and classical inspired music and so forth, and rock. You know, like the Wicked show had quite a lot of rock in it. So it's all challenging. Then I've done some orchestral work with a little while ago with the Australian Pops Orchestra, performing at Hamer Hall, most of the times at Hamer Hall or at the Sydney Opera House, and these are orchestras, they're 80-piece orchestras, so again working under conductor and playing a variety of music, some classical, some jazz, a lot of show tunes, but with 20-30 strings in like a symphony orchestra. And then the last few years I've been very fortunate, last 12-13 years playing with the Daryl McKenzie Jazz Orchestra. And Daryl McKenzie is a very well-known Melbourne Australian musician. Most people remember him by, he was the musical director for Hey Hey It's Saturday for a long time. And so Daryl is well respected, and this band is an 18-piece big band, jazz big band. So it's in the tradition of the big band era, but we play modern Australian compositions. They're original compositions. They're written by us in the orchestra, and there's a number of really good writers in that orchestra. We've got 4 CDs under the Daryl McKenzie Jazz Orchestra. You can Google them, folks, and check them out. But it's again quite an honour to play with some very, very fine musicians, and performing the last Monday of every month at the Apartment in Little Bourke Street here in Melbourne. That's the last Monday of every month, from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And we always have a guest vocalist. We've had, last month was Wilbur Wilde, we've had Rhonda Birchmore, Nina Farrer, some great singers, and always featuring a guest student, because we're all teachers, and we always bring a student to perform one tune with the band. So, and then there's my quintet, the Jack Pantazis group, and I have 2 CDs out with my original material. I think you can get them on iTunes. You can get them on iTunes. And that's something else that it's more of a indulging me doing my thing. But it's challenging to write. I'm not a gifted writer.
Your own music?
Yeah, it's all original music, and that's another journey altogether, developing the writing skills. So the playing has taken me from concert halls to restaurants to studios and all sorts of things. The Victorian Arts Centre, for example, doing shows there. So it's a variety of environments and venues, and that's what being a professional musician is all about. In my eyes and the eyes of my colleagues, we are out there doing lots of things, from weddings to bar mitzvahs to 21st, to all sorts of things, to jazz gigs, to big band gigs, to orchestral gigs, to backing whoever, and that's what we strive to try and do, and to sustain a living from it.
That's beautiful. Well, you must have built quite a good reputation for yourself to be involved in so many large things, really.
Yeah, reputation comes from hard work.
Yes. And
it comes from dedication, and it comes from respect with people that you work with. Most of the time, I'd have to say I work, it sounds bad, I work with a lot of good people who I learn a lot from. And I learn from these experiences that develops me as a musician, develops me as a professional. And I think it's honest to say that in any profession it's people skills. If you don't have people skills, no matter what you do, it's networking, how good you're playing, or how good a typewriter you are, a typist, not typewriter, it's not going to happen.
Because people want to work with you.
You need to get along with people. And music, you're with people. You're doing things all the time. So that's very, very important. So yes, practice, discipline, all the gigs, and reputation comes as a result, or a good reputation comes as a result of doing the right things at the right time and preparing.
Well, that's good to help other people who are interested in entering in that field. Just to give them a bit of encouragement, so if they do have that gift as well, like you do, they can have hope with it. They don't have to give up, because
it's slow.
They need to know the techniques.
They've got to just remember it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, it's never happened overnight, and I'm still waiting for that overnight thing. It won't happen that way. It's just something that you do every day, like you do anything in your life. It's just something you just keep doing, and you know that everything that you do, there's more to learn. There's more things to do. There's more things to practice. There's more things to keep on top of. So the playing skills is very important. So you have to keep up doing all these things. So there's never an end to it. It's not a financial thing. It's not a stardom thing. It's just you do.
Yeah, it's because you love to do it, and you have your vision of where you want to be with it.
And if you want to keep doing it, you've got to do these things. You know, like the practice and doing all the sorts of gigs you can, and learning from people and copying people and understanding people, and
And I guess when you get the jobs, you think, well, this is a great job. I'm happy I got this, but you don't think it just happened easily. You know what you did to get there.
Yeah, and sometimes I have to sit back a little bit because sometimes life gets really busy and one job flows after the other, and it's not until some years go by and you go, wow, this happened or that happened. I don't tend to get wound up with it.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the program. It's been a joy.
Pleasure. Thank you.
You've been watching Nat Chat. I hope you enjoyed the program. I'll see you again soon.